Hello, everybody. Are we all here? Some latecomers. Okay, dear friends, dear colleagues. I would like this afternoon's session to start now and proudly introduce the winner of last year's Silletto Prize. And just to remind you, the Silletto Prize is a prize for community participation and engagement. This prize is sponsored by the Silletto Trust and celebrates a deep, continuous and empowering involvement between a museum and its stakeholders that places the museum as a point of orientation and reference at the center of its communities, whether these be local, national, global, or otherwise defined. The Kenan Yavuz, do I pronounce that right? Yeah, thank you. Ethnography Museum from the remote village of Besnipar in Turkey has managed to find very effective ways to advocate the conscious return to local roots and heritage. This museum addresses the dramatic transformation of Turkey during the last century as a result of migration from villages to cities and the abandonment of many villages. The Kenan Yavuz Museum aimed and successfully aims now to reverse this trend by demonstrating how cultural projects and greater awareness of the richness of village heritage can revitalize villages and the lives of their residents, young and old. I am, as I am sure all of you present here today, are very excited to hear how this museum, although only founded in 2019 by Kenan and his family, has preserved and revived the tangible and intangible heritage of local villages in the Beirut region. I'm equally curious how the winning of the Silletto Prize affected this museum. So let me ask on stage our colleague from Turkey, Mr. Kenan Yavuz, to start his keynote address on his approach on how museums can be rooted in their communication, in their communities, and make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is a wonderful day, and to have this excitement of standing behind so many great individuals, and when I see the faces here, I see so much experience and so much knowledge that we share with each other. And it is a story that we will share that we still cannot believe where it led us to. And today, the story that we're going to be sharing is a story of a family, and a family story that became of Anatolia. And we'll talk about the region, the journey we went through, and what has happened since winning an award by the European Museum Forum last year. And hopefully, after sharing this journey with us, we'll also see you in our museum located in Bayburt. It's going to be a definitely a rememberable journey, a little bit far, but I'm pretty sure that you'll be enjoying it. And to start with, this is our family. You might have seen us, especially me and my father. We love taking pictures and videos. And you'll see why. We definitely leverage them as much as possible. And it is founded by our family. It is founded by my father and my mother. So it's slightly different with absolutely zero funding. And the journey has been quite challenging, but we found creative ways to engage with the locals and with the community who helped us tremendously. And that led us to where we are today. You see my brother on the left, my mother, my father, my sister-in-law, and myself standing at our gala night, premiere night, which is also very unthinkable to say. And that was a night that we hosted to celebrate our documentary film that we produced after winning the award, as the public was very interested in knowing our story. To begin with, the region that we're going to be talking about is Bayburt. So Bayburt is located in the East Turkey. It's around roughly 18 hours by drive from Istanbul. You need to take a plane, maybe 1.5 hour flight, and then you will be driving for an hour and a half. Even though you're going to be very, very tired, we will make sure that you have the right food and drinks so that you can revive and actually enjoy the museum. And there's also a sad part about Bayburt. So it's the city that has lost the biggest population to the migration to the western part of Turkey, which caused cultural cultural erosion. It caused much more economic drastic drop down. And as you can imagine, it created a circle of losing more and more. And that was the beginning of the story. My father is born and he was raised in Yukarıloru, Beşpınar village, which is from Bayburt. It is around 45 minutes drive from the city center, but back when he was born in, it was around a 4-hour drive by a truck, if you could find one. And so the conditions were not ideal. It is at a high altitude, so the sky is beautiful. We have star nights for our guests. And he saw that potential when he was a kid. He said, I'm going to leave this village now for my education and to pursue my career. But when I come back, I want to do something. He didn't know what it was, neither did we. And many, many years later, he married my mother. They were in Istanbul living. He continued his education. And after becoming a professional, he was constantly thinking about his home that was abandoned when they had to leave the village. His parents decided it was the best to leave the village, go to the city, where their children could be educated better. But once they left the house behind, the new tenants didn't take care of it as much as one would like, so the house was completely lost to renovations that we wouldn't be finding idyllic. So this was the house that the original house was. And, but we will come to the point how we have a picture of it, even though it was completely lost. So in 2012, we decided we needed a house in the village to be able to go back there and host the family and host many, many members of our family. We have a big, big family. I'll show a dinner picture, and it's quite fascinating to see that many people all together. This is my grandmother on the front, my father, my grandmother, again, my mother, and our family members in front of the house that we built right here, in order to accommodate all the guests that we were having in the village. So it was a house, still not a museum, because nobody knew that it was going to become a museum in the future. Once we established this house and started to host members, my father also remembered that when he was a kid, his favorite thing to do was to go to the cinema. But of course, that was very difficult since it was in the Bayburt city center. 4-hour drive, only one way to Bayburt, 4 hours to come back. And there is, of course, if he could find some coins forgotten in his great-father's jacket that he could borrow for a while and go to the cinema. And ironically, in 2012, there was 0 cinemas in Bayburt around the city. So he thought, why don't we build an amphitheater in the garden where we could facilitate cinema evenings for the kids of the village, so they could come in the evenings and they could watch movies. And that's what we did. But of course, since we had this lovely, small but cozy space, we decided to host events for the kids, whether it was dancing or theaters, and one thing led to another. And it was one of the most loved venues for the village kids, as well as the neighboring villages, because people talk. They say, hey, there's a lovely house you can go to, and there's cinema, and they give chocolate as well in the evening. And it made us very, very happy. In the meantime, we started to search for the unwanted, and the region back then, and still is improving, did not have the knowledge of the importance of preserving the history and the culture. For many individuals, perhaps an old item might be something that would be the best to burn for fire, or it would be a storage item, or better even to throw out. We have found many, many historic items that were thrown out and that we had to renovate, and now they are preserved in the museum in the best way possible. So we were actually visiting the houses, going to the garage at the back of the places, and finding items that we thought were treasures. And when we asked for them to donate it or even to sell it in the beginning, they were quite shocked that we wanted these items. They were like, why do you want this? And so we were starting to gather a collection of items that we stored in the garden. We built a small exhibition room, and we placed these items with the names that they belonged to. And with that method, once people's names were actually exhibited in the exhibition room, people started thinking, I want my name to be there. I also have an item or two. So people were actually very excited to give many items. So the exhibition room started to grow very, very, very fast. And in the meantime, there was something else happening. So on the left, you see my grandmother, and the right is my mother. And they absolutely loved welcoming people. And even since we were having these events happening in the garden, and it was becoming a place for people to visit, even though it was our private property, they were like, hey, can we have a look at the garden? We're like, yeah, sure, come in. And then my grandmother was inviting them for tea, for coffee, for lunch, whatever it might be. And my mother did the exact same. So people kept coming more and more. And the popularity grew, and we started to host concerts, music evenings, dinner gatherings, and memorable days for the event. And once the events were growing, we happened to establish something that we didn't know we were establishing throughout the years. So from 2012 until 2019, which happened in 2019, the Kenan Yavuz Ethnography Museum was founded. Why we chose Ethnography Museum? It was because of the things that we cared about, the things that we were actually representing without knowing we were representing. They were the items that were lost, it was the dances that were not being danced anymore, the songs that were not sung, and the ways of living, and the items that were lost so far. And that was the beginning of course, a very, very new chapter for our museum. So these are just a few things that we think ethnography should be representing, that we think we should protect more. It's the music, the cuisine, the nature, it's the dance, the architecture, and agriculture, and we try to improve it every day even more with more guidance that we have and with more volunteers that we have on board. And a dream of EMYA, of course, arose when we were a museum. We were like, oh, imagine if we did get an award from EMYA, or just to be able to be part of such an incredible process. And that's what we did. This was a footage that I placed the camera on the night of EMYA ceremony last year. And because of the pandemic, it happened online, of course. And when we dressed, in the middle of the pandemic, nobody's going out, so we dressed. And we were in the living room, there was nobody, and we were laughing because we were like, look at us, what are we doing? What if we don't mean anything? And then we're just going to be people who are dressed for nothing in the house. And I also had a speech prepared on my next laptop, and the more awards were given, my mother was really sad. She said, oh my God, you're not going to be able to make your speech. I was like, it's fine. It's an amazing experience. But then it happened. Miss Carol Jackson, who couldn't be with us today, announced our name. And the moment she said Kenan Yavuz, before Ethnography Museum, we were already screaming and jumping in the living room. And thankfully, that was not streamed in that moment. But it was a very happy moment, and we couldn't believe that it was happening. We did manage to get some reactions from our family and friends who shared it with us. So I'll try to...
Hoş geldiniz.
Oh, actually, before that, apologies for that. I want to also show the video that we participated to EMYA with, which summarizes some of the things that I mentioned with a little bit of more detail. It takes 5 minutes, so I will leave it to it.
Hoş geldiniz. Welcome to Kenan Yavuz Ethnography Museum. What you see is a 2-bedroom village house, a replica in which my father was born. A house that did not survive the years that passed, but its memories most certainly did. Little did we know that rebuilding memories in our garden located here in Yukarıları village, Bayburt, Turkey, would soon turn into a wave of support and growth that eventually became the most visited private-owned museum in the country, Bayburt. A city that had been featured in the epic tales of Dede Korkut, recognized by UNESCO in the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity, experienced the second most rapid population loss with migration to the larger cities in the country, inevitably endangering the heritage of the region. My father said, I'd like to revive the past. I'd like the past to live. And as a family, we started a cultural center to tell our story, exhibiting items passed through generations, uniting with schools, organizations, and most importantly, with the locals, to create awareness on the fact that the beauties of Anatolia, the way of living here in Bayburt, deserves to be revived, preserved, and experienced.
Bugün tandırda ekmek pişirme şenliğimizi yapıyoruz. Anadolu'nun güzelliklerini bugünün güzelliklerini geleceğe taşımak için müzeyi inşa ettik.
Locals too started to bring their own heirlooms, whether they are letters, boxes, tools of agriculture, for they too wanted the names of their loved ones to live. Each piece in our collection comes with their own stories. Real people, real stories, memories everywhere, made us the museum we are today. My grandmother, even at the days when we have 1,000 visitors per day, will try greeting each one of them, offering tea. For her, each corner of the museum is a memory of her own.
Bu da benim evim. 16 yaşımda geldim. Burada tandır yağardı. Ekmek pişirirdik.
My mother, the architect of our project, has been the essence of order and aesthetic. Born and raised in Istanbul with roots to Albania, she became the designer of experiences to make sure, regardless of where you come from, your gender, your age, financial or academic background, you will be bonded with Bayburt and feel that you aren't here to observe only, but also to participate.
Buranın bir ruhu var. Sadece bir müze değil, yaşayan müze, zaten adından da belli. Çok güzel zamanlar geçiriyoruz. Daha nice anılara diyorum.
Hekat. The dialect is one of many things we wish to preserve, hosting story competitions for kids, storytelling hours in our library, speaking the words of the region, Lor. One of many things you will taste once you visit us. In our annual harvest festival, you will turn the hay into a rope, crop the harvest, pile it, thresh it, take it to the mill, and finally make bread to taste the experience truly. Ehram. We support ethnic production to be revived, allowing talents to grow, supporting women of the society to get together and empower each other. Ağızbarı. You will see many singing songs while folk dancing on the roof of our village house. There may even be a bride walking in, digitizing folk music to make sure it will survive the centuries to come. Kırman. Making sure to revive the unique architectural features in every corner. We've successfully restored an Armenian fountain located in our neighbor village Pushke and is now a must-visit place for all our guests. Through the permanent exhibition Çinimacin, we created awareness on the lost tiles of Bayburt Castle, which recently is being restored to its original, outstanding exterior. The locals took ownership and responsibility as though the museum is their own, helping us grow, host and present the best values we have. Academicians referencing us in their researches as part of ecotourism and eco-museums, journalists, TV presenters, social media influencers helped us spread the word quicker than we could ever imagine. We are not alone. We've never been and we will never be. We create opportunities for volunteering, and our advisory board with whom we design the future of our museum consists of wonderful volunteers who are teachers, farmers, artists, economists, authors, executives, helping us get better every day. Our goal is to create a tourism demand focused on cultural heritage of Bayburt, creating jobs, contributing to the local economy, generating, seeking solutions to the social issues, starting a chain of reactions that will one day put a stop to migration to the larger cities and allow future generations to see the great potential and opportunities that lay here in Bayburt. We believe the impact we wish to make locally will be much stronger through the recognition from an international organization as the European Museum Forum. We look forward to the journey that's ahead of us. We also look forward to meeting you and welcoming you. Greetings from Kenan Yavuz Ethnography Museum.
Thank you very much. And as you probably felt, the emotions that we have felt during that journey, we captured a few moments, as I mentioned, of our families, and I believe you're going to be seeing much more on the award ceremony this week, which I really, really look forward to. And so this was what has happened.
And now the Silletto Prize for 2021. The museum which has won this award, although young in age, has managed to find very effective ways to advocate the conscious return to local roots and heritage. It is very successful in engaging its local community and is equally forceful in demonstrating how cultural projects which build on the richness of village heritage regenerate rural social and economic.
Come on!
The prize 2021 goes to the Kenan Yavuz.
Come on!
Goes to the Kenan Yavuz.
Yes!
The Kenan Yavuz. The Kenan Yavuz Ethnography Museum, Vespenar, Turkey.
And now I would like to turn over to the Yavuz family of the Kenan Yavuz Ethnography Museum in Turkey, which I had the pleasure of visiting last year. So, Silletto Prize winner for 2021, you're on.
Hello everyone. This is Furkan Yavuz, member of the advisory board here at Kenan Yavuz Ethnography Museum. and I'm here with the co-creators of the foundation, my mother, Sibel Yavuz, and my father, Kenan Yavuz. As a family, we cannot express our happiness and the pride.
I'll pass that in here. I was very excited, and thankfully, thankfully there was that moment where they were showing pictures, so I was trying to weep off my tears away. I was like, okay, I need to get my things together. And then that was the beginning of everything changing, of course. We had the pleasure of visiting 14 Henrietta Street in Dublin, who were the winners of 2020, to have the award ceremony, received it over. And that was the moment that we realized everything is getting more serious, and then we had to, we had the public responsibility to do even more and give people the opportunity to help us do even more. And a brand new chapter at Kenan Yavuz Ethnography was growing, and we made sure all the buildings that we were building were ethnographically fitting with the cultural values that we were having, even though many people had many ideas. Sometimes I would have an idea, everybody would say no, my father would have an idea, I would say no, and then we would find the right one that would actually fit with the museum, as we were afraid of losing our core values once we were so excited. So far it's going really well, and hopefully with the advisory board we will continue to do so. And then the biggest change has happened when we realized we need to document things, and not through our cameras, the phones, but actually an official documentary to make sure that future generations will know what has happened here and what people can do with little resources, with little knowledge. If you actually want to change something in a region, you actually can change. And the documentary was filmed and it's premiered. Now it's available on YouTube for everyone to witness the story. So I would like to show a minute-long trailer of the movie with you.
İnsanın hayatı çocukluğunun özeti değil mi? Köyümüz yüksek bir rakımda. Geceleri elinizi uzatarak yıldızlara dokunabilecek kadar kendinizi yakın hissedersiniz.
Neler oldu, neler oldu. Neler oldu, neler oldu.
Anadolu kilitlenmeyen kapılar ülkesidir.
Buranın bir ruhu var. Sadece bir müze değil.
Yaşayan ve yaşatan müze sloganımız, mottomuz.
Neredeyim tam olarak? Bayburt'tayım. Kenan Yavuz Etnografya Müzesi'ne doğru birazdan kısa bir yolculuğa çıkacağım.
Adının ne olduğunu bilmediğim bir hayalle geçti çocukluğum.
Avrupa'nın en prestijli müzecilik ödülünün verildiği.
Bizim verdiğimiz mesaj şu: değişmemesi gereken güzelliklerimizi korumamız gerekiyor.
Now I would like to share our mission and vision and what we'd like to do in the future, briefly. Our mission is that we would like to continue our responsibilities to the region, to Anatolia, while we are reviving the values of it. We would like to start and raise an awareness on the immigration that is damaging the region and find creative ways that works for both the youth, the people who would live there, and for the future generations. The architecture of Anatolia that's being lost due to many, many reasons, but mostly financially. The social life that has been changing drastically with people migrating to the Western cities, uniting with nature, which has been much more difficult with the lives of the urban life. Sharing more with the locals and making sure that we are collaborating. Accessibility, making sure that everybody who visits the museum, regardless of their background in education or their age, they do relate with it, they understand what it is about, and when they leave as cultural ambassadors. And last but not the least, creation without loss. We believe change can happen without damaging what was already there. So while we are preserving these, our vision is that one day Bayburt is going to become a popular tourism destination in Turkey, and the migration is going to be reversed. So we're going to see an increase in the population of the region. The future of Ethnography Museum relies with all of us. We are looking forward to uniting and collaborating with many, many more museums. We believed international recognition would be what was needed for a bigger impact locally, and it actually was. We have seen an incredible increase in the publicity that we had, the support that we received, the credibility that we had in our projects, and moving forward we will do the exact same. With that said, I would like to thank everybody here who has been here, the European Museum Forum, the European Museum of the Year Awards, the jury, and the host of Estonian National Museum, and we look forward to welcoming you at our museum in Bayburt very soon, and thank you so much for your time.
Kenan, could you stay?
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
I want to thank you so much for your inspiring and passionate story. It's a wonderful story.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, and thank you for the amazing support and the reactions. It made me very emotional here as well.
I will, for one, definitely go and visit your museum. That's for sure. And I think a lot of us in the audience as well. I mean, you have such a loving family, and I think it's exceptional to build a cultural center together with your family. Your father started it. It's exceptional, but does it pose challenges as well, working with your family?
It definitely does. It has been very difficult. If you have seen my father, he likes to act fast, and that certain times raises questions of concern. We've built our boutique accommodation, and we never had the chance or the finances to work with an architecture or anything, and we thought we wanted to do it. Like, you know, we wanted it to be our piece as a family. So I was finding online courses, resources to actually design it. And one day my father sends me a video where they're laying the foundation with concrete in the garden, with actual floor plans. And I was like, I didn't even finish the sketches. What's happening here? So immediately I flew from Dublin, where I live, to Bayreuth, and tried to change as much as possible. But in the end, we find a way to work together, and that's the beauty of it. I think it's a very rare occasion where you call your team, your mother, your grandmother, your brother, and your father. So I feel very, very lucky to be part of such a project, and I think that also adds a bit of lots of energy and synergy to it, because once we succeed together, we share it together. But now it's not just the family, because everybody who is participating, for example, the board of directors, board of advisors, most of them have never been to Anatolia before, and now they feel home. And they say, "Oh, we miss our house." They say, not the museum. We should go there. We should visit each other. And so I guess if we are able to reflect that opinion of, family is not just about blood. You don't have to be related by blood. It's something that you call to people that you trust the most and you want to be spending your time with. But yeah, against the challenges, it's been a great journey.
Okay, that's great. Well, I had a couple of more questions, but you answered them all in your beautiful story. So I guess it's time anyway. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, really. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, okay, thank you.